Okay, another Patreon Q&A. Again, thank you, Patreons, so much for your support. And for the questions for today, we don't have so many today, but still, I hope it will be fun. Today, I will just experiment a bit with unfiltered audio Silo in VCV Rack, of course. Silo is a granular processor with all sorts of nifty, interesting features. Before we start, I want to mention the Discord challenge. Last month we had a graphics core challenge, which was really interesting. So you had to compose something according to a graphics core that I made. Not so professional, but still, it was fun. This month we have another challenge, which is following the Fibonacci series. So you have to compose a piece, never mind modular synthesizers, acoustic instruments, whatever you feel comfortable with, but using as much of the series as you can. So for example, using rhythms that are going according to the series, using number of modules or number of instruments, number of voices, and so on. Again, for fun. Also this month we will do a giveaway, so you can choose between different prizes. And I want to mention this month, or choose this month's winner. We have 6 submissions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I have here something set. Again, it's not a competition. I'm not going to choose any what I think is best or anything, but we will choose one in random. So here I have a number, sort of a random number generator. I'm using an LFO just to run this counter, right? It's going from 0 to 6, but we will not use 0. And then if I do something like this, right, I can just stop at a random number. So I will use this to generate a random number. So let's see who is the winner. Number 3. Let's see. Number 3 is Aerobots. Cool. Nice. I will contact you through Discord. Again, if you also want to participate, consider joining our community on Patreon. This is open for all tiers. And then you have also access to our Discord channel and challenge as well. Right. Okay, cool. Number 3. Very cool. So I will contact you, and very nice. So also this month we will have a giveaway, which can be quite cool. All right. So let's start with some sounds, and then I will start with the first question. Again, I have Silo here. I thought just to try a simple sine wave. I have here my MIDI controller that I can use to play the voices. Right. So let's see, just something simple, I guess, just to see what's going on here. Let's leave everything as it is. Let's go to Silo. First of all, I will turn off, maybe I can make this even bigger so we can see everything. I will turn off the reverb and the specializer and the granulator also, and take the mix all the way down and compressor all the way down. And let's just see how this sounds like. And then we can see what Silo is doing here. Silo, really interesting. Maybe we'll have also polyphony. Let's go with like 6 voices. Right, just take the level down. Just a sine wave. Maybe I take a bit down. Right, this is before Silo. Okay, let's start with the granulator. Let's take the mix all the way up. Right, so we can choose the size of grains. Let's change the buffer size to time. Let's go with 4 seconds. Right, and here down you can see everything. And I can choose the grain size. Right, and the rate. Let's also, you know what, let's also sync it to the clock. So I can send the clock, a 16th notes clock. Right, and now if I change this from time, no, the size maybe we can leave like this, but maybe the rate from time to tempo, right? Can name it, let's say 16th notes. of course, we can add also deviation, which is basically randomizing the time, and let's say also the tempo a bit. Right? Maybe I should take the level here a bit down. I can use a spreader just to spread this polyphonic signal and take the levels a bit down also, because polyphony can be quite loud here. Oh, now it's already better. Right, so this is now just the granulizer. Maybe I can hold it. All right, I have it's a stand pedal that I'm holding, there's the note. Right, then of course we can change the pitch as well. Let's go down maybe. I can add a compressor to have it a bit louder. And now the speed is the play speed through the buffer. Right, so I can have it playing really slowly through the buffer. Maybe you know what? Let's do something like this. I will record a loop, just so it will play a bit, it will play a few notes. Let's do something like this, just a second, and here I will turn this off. Right, and I will just record a loop. Let's see. I don't know. Let's say something like this. Anyway, we will granulize it. Right, but now it will just always play. Take it an octave up. Oh, let's leave it as it is, right? And then we can change the speed. And the spread. Which will a bit change the pitch also. And have it playing in reverse a bit. And we can change the shape of the level envelope. Right, and there are different shapes to choose from. And we can add also freeze, so the buffer will be frozen randomly, or there's a chance. And another interesting thing here is that we can change the rhythm of the grains as well and add Euclidean rhythms here. Right? This is running randomly due to the size, but or the speed or something like this. But still it's interesting. Let's do something like this. I will add the Briatus just to add, this was just a sine wave, but I can add some saturation or folding. Right, so let's modulate this, let's say with oct. Soon we will add a reverb also that will really simplify everything. I still didn't start with the questions, I'm sorry, but let's leave it like this. Right. Okay, let's add the specializer, and here we can choose, for example, stereo. Right, and let's choose something like moons, right? So they will move here. I can add more points, more locations, change the range. Again, this is stereo, left and right in this case. Their velocity, so their speed. now we can add reverb. And now here I can change between volume or chance, for example. So there is a chance that the grains will actually go to the reverb. Right, and we can change it from dark to nebula, let's say. Right, more decay. Is it clipping here? No, that's just the Briatus. Right, and we can add also a filter, let's say a high-pass filter. Right, and create all sorts of textures. I will add, with your permission, I will add more reverb with the send reverb behavior. Nice. Cool. Okay, I will change this in a second. You know what, before the first question, because I know the first question is quite long, so I will change this to modulate the feedback, and then I will continue playing this live, or I will play this live again. Right, let's see. There is something special about granular, granular synthesis. Yeah. You get really to, you can explore the inners of the sound, which is quite cool. I mean, and this is just a chord. I mean, there is nothing special here about it. So let's do this. Instead of me using my keyboard, I will use the note sequencer, which is the easiest way to generate chord progression. Let's go chord progressions. Let's go with 4 voices, right? And let's do something like this. I will use a divided by 8 clock. And this will generate our chord progression. Oh yes. And let's take this an octave up here and an octave down there, and then we'll start with the first question, okay? Just to get a nice texture here. Let's take the freeze down so it will always record new material. Why here it's not recording, but... Well, I think because it's... okay, I have to lower the time, or let's say tempo. Okay, now. So now it will always record. Sometimes there will be silence, but it will always record new stuff. Right? Cool. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Mark Oros, hi. Can you present on a few key points of mixing and mastering for beginners? All right, cool. So this is a big one, but I have here a few points prepared, just so I don't forget anything. All right, so again, mixing and mastering for beginners. Of course, this is my way. This is not the best way, of course, or not the only way. I'm just going to tell you a few things that I think are important. First of all, and this is something that people often forget, is that mixing is already a part of the composition process. And what I mean by that, when you choose your instruments, when you compose your voices, when you choose the registers, when you choose the notes, right? All of this is actually also mixing. When you choose the timbres, something is brighter using filters, in our case, with synthesizers and stuff like this. Right, the voice will be brighter, the voice will be darker. This is a part of the composition, and it's already a part of the mixing process. Again, choosing your voices, choosing your the notes that they are playing. Don't forget that frequency is pitch, and pitch is also frequency. Mixing is usually referred to also as EQing and stuff like this. Let me show you this actually. Right, let's say that I have a voice, right, just like we have now. And I will choose a MIDI keyboard just so I can show you this, right? Okay, now this voice is playing a C. That have also some harmonics, right? This voice is playing the note C in this case, C something, C1, all right? Let's say, maybe. C1 has a certain frequency, right? If you choose that you have one or two or three voices playing the same note, right? Or playing notes that are next to each other and stuff like this, you will have then not necessarily issues, but then you will have a lot of voices that sit in the same frequency range, right? Because they play the same notes. Again, pitch is frequency. If I change the pitch now, right, to something else, you can see also the frequency changed. If I use higher notes, you see I have higher, more energy in the higher frequencies. If I use lower notes, I have more energy in the lower frequencies, because pitch is frequency. Right, so when you compose, when you choose your instruments, right, some instruments like sine waves will have less harmonics, others like saw waves or complex oscillators or stuff like this, or acoustic instruments will have more overtones, more harmonics, more frequencies, more energy in different sections of the spectrum, right? So you have to think also while you compose, think also of the notes that you choose, the registers, the voices. Sometimes, for example, I will think, okay, this sounds nice, but it's a bit too dark for me. I need something a bit brighter. So instead of adding with an EQ, adding bright frequencies or higher frequencies, I will just choose to use a voice or some sort of a percussion loop or something that will sit there in those frequencies, instead of me going and adding something that is not really there, right? I mean, here, if I want to add higher frequencies to this voice, you can see it's here in the lower frequencies. I want to add something that is not there. It will be a problem. It will sound weird, or I will not be able to do it at all, right? So already the mixing process already starts while you are composing, right? While you are producing, while you are writing your piece, writing your voices, the notes themselves, right? So this is something that a lot of people forget. They make something and then later in the mixing process, they try to fix it. But they forget that mixing starts already with the first note, with the samples you choose, with the instruments you choose, with the notes you choose to play, and so on, right? So already think about that. Also, I believe in performances, right? I spoke about it in the last video as well. I believe in the performance aspect of performing the music. So also when you perform, when you open a filter, when you close a filter, this is already mixing, right? I mean, you take frequencies out, you bring frequencies in, wave shapers, never mind what. Right, so already pay attention to what you're doing from the beginning instead of waiting for some sort of a magic mixing process that will fix things. This will not happen. All right, another tip is mix in low levels. Sometimes we are excited about our music, right? And we want to play it loud and we think, wow, it sounds amazing. But then when you turn it really low, really, really low, I'm not speaking about in a normal level. I'm speaking really mixing in really low levels. Then you already hear that, wait a minute, I cannot hear the most important part. Let's say it's the kick, let's say it's the bass, let's say it's the lead. I cannot hear it. When it was loud, I could hear it. When it's low, I cannot hear it. It means that there is some sort of issue. On the other hand, if you hear things too loud when it's low, it means that they are also too loud when the music will be in a normal, so-called normal level. So mix in low levels. Another tip I have for you is to mix in mono. Now this is something that I'm trying to do more and more, but I'm not doing it enough because I love my music. I think my music, also I spoke about it in the last video, my music is for stereo. It's not for listening in mono. If you want to listen in mono to my music, I don't think you will have the same experience. But still mixing in mono can make sure that your voices are really cutting through. And they are not just, you are not using the stereo field as a way of fixing mistakes, right? Because if you have a few voices that sit together, but you pan them, right? So all of a sudden they will sound okay. But when you mix everything in mono and you cannot pan voices, they have to sit together in the same place with levels. If you need EQ, then with EQ. Right, so if you mix in mono already, you notice those things that might come later. Again, I prefer to do everything, if I can, of course, I'm trying, it never works 100%, but to think about those things already in the composition process, right? To think, wait a minute, I have notes here on one that clash with a different voice. How can I change this that I can hear both of them and they are not clashing with each other, for example? Already in the compositional process, you have to think about those things. But anyway, mix in low levels and mix in mono. About mastering, what is mastering? Basically, it means mastering is more for albums, I guess, for when you have different or more than one song and you need to make sure that the levels are the same, because you don't want the listener to have one track really loud and he has to take the level down, and then one track really low and he says, okay, this is too low, I have to, and he's always there in the level control. This is mastering for albums. There is also mastering for normal tracks, but usually it means mastering means bringing the level up for the different platforms. For if it's a CD, you need one level. If it's YouTube, you need a different level. If it's Spotify, you need a different level, right? They all need different levels to working. And this is basically the mastering, the final touch to bring the levels up. And also maybe sometimes adding a few different elements on the master channel, right? Mastering things you do on the master channel. Now, one tip I have that I'm doing a lot, almost always, is I never master a stereo file or stems. Usually you think about mastering that you give to someone else and you give him or her only the stems, so only a few different tracks that he can work with. For example, all of the drums together, all of the leads together, the voices together, the lyrics, or the vocals, right? So he or she have less to handle, right? They have less tracks, or only the stereo file, right? You render your whole composition into a stereo file, and this is what you use for mastering. I don't believe in this because, again, in mastering sometimes... Okay, so what I will do, I will give myself time. I will not do everything in one day, right? So sometimes I go, I listen, I mix a bit, and by mixing I mean just changing the levels usually. I never do too many mixing processes. Maybe I will take the low frequencies out and stuff like this, right? But then I give myself a day or 2 or 3 days, and then I listen to it again and I master it, right? So then I feel like, oh, wait a minute, I hear things differently now. My ears are not tired anymore. I hear things differently. This is too loud. If I had just a stereo file, I had to go back and change the levels, and then, or not, or I will say, it's stereo already. I will not go back. I will leave it like this, right? So I never master in as a stereo file or stems. I always master in the project itself, so I can always go back and change things. change levels, stuff like this, right? I also, by the way, I record always in multi-track, so I have all of the tracks differently. Not differently, I have all of the tracks separately. Right, so a tip is don't master the stereo or the stems, because you always have the chance to go back. Don't be lazy. Don't make your life easier by mastering a stereo track. I don't believe in this. Of course, it's really common to do something like this, but then you cannot go back and fix things. By the way, something I really like adding for mastering, for example, is like tape saturation and stuff like this. So it's not only levels, it's also giving it a bit of color, giving it your signature color, I guess. Okay. Another tip, don't fix things in mastering. Don't think you will fix things in mastering. What I mean by that is try to reach the mastering process, whatever it means to you. For me, it's more or less just levels and giving it its final polish. Don't go there thinking, okay, I will save this for the mastering to fix it. There are levels, there are EQ things, there are frequencies. Don't think that you will go to the mastering and fix things. Reach the mastering process, this final process, with the best sounding mix you can. And again, mix can mean a lot of things for different people. If it's just levels, if you are doing automation, I don't like making automation. Again, I believe in the performance, but if you are doing automation, level automation, effects automations, depends how you are working, right? EQ, all sorts of different things. Don't leave things for mastering. Go step by step and make sure you can always go back. Of course, again, don't master. I think mastering a stereo file or stems is not a good thing to do, unless you give it to someone else, of course. Another tip that I started doing recently, and I should have done it a long time ago, is using reference tracks. Right? Sometimes I will listen to my music and I will think, oh, all right, it sounds nice, but then I will put something else, and all of a sudden, wow, that's either huge or much brighter, or it's much more punchy, or whatever. So when I mix and when I master, I try to have a track there, somewhere there, that I can always switch between and listen, okay, wait a minute, it's much brighter than my track, what's going on? Maybe I need to add different voices if I'm still in the composition process. Yes, this reference, by the way, is not just for mastering, it's also for mixing and also for composing. But right, always listen to something else that you like, right? It's important that you like it. And it's important also that you think it sounds good. Not necessarily to sound like the reference you're using, but to have some sort of reference, because it's all relative, right? I mean, when someone listens just to your music, then you don't have to do this, but no one listens just to one artist, right? So everything is relative. So just use a reference, and that's it. I hope it was a lot. What's the time already? 20 minutes I'm talking. Yeah, and that's it, more or less, right? So mixing is a part of the composition process, mixing low levels, mixing mono. Don't master stereo file or stems. Don't fix things in mastering, and use reference tracks, right? So those are the tips basically that I can give you. All right, let's add another voice. Let's arpeggiate those chords, why not? It's always nice. By the way, I just recorded a video all about chord progressions. I believe it will be released before this video, we will see, but then you will know all of my tricks already. Right, so this ARP module from Hampton Harmonics needs a gate that will stay always on. So it can be either your sustain pedal, or I choose just to use a gate. And then I can choose the polyphonic signal, right? And I will use also the multiplied by 4 clock. And let's use a voice. I like Interzone actually, from Valley. So I will use Interzone from Valley. Right, let's listen to this before I send it to silo. I will send it to another silo. I will go through another. Let's go 2 octaves. Let's add a sub oscillator here. Some noise. Right, and now let's add another silo. Let's see, I will shut it down for a second. Okay, now a nice thing we can do here is actually randomizing things, right? So if I initialize this, reset to defaults, right? Just a second, right? So we can randomize things. So let's take the mix maybe 50-50. Oh, already with the delay. Right, let's do something like this, right? And then with the right click, I can lock this parameter and it will not be randomized. Let's take the compressor down again. And let's do something like this. Let's leave the pitch where it is for now, or maybe even take it an octave down maybe, right? And I will lock it. I will also lock the deviation. And let's see what happens with the granular. Maybe I will also take something that is not, right? That is not clicking so much. And I will use again the clock that I used before. Okay. Let's take the mix all the way up. Nice. Really nice. Wow, I love granular. I love granular. Okay. Right, but I still need some reverb and I still need this voice. Super cool. Let's use the LFO. Super cool. What is with me today? I love granular. Super cool. Right. Nice. Okay, the next question. Top 5 paid VCV Rack module. So we spoke, Troy Outram, thank you again for the question. We spoke a bit and you meant collections, right? So I'm not going to mention the Vult collection, which you should get anyway, and any of the VCV modules, the paid modules, because you should get them all, especially host. But you should get them all. So I chose 5 different collections, that commercial collections that you should get, you should consider getting at least, right? So first of all is the Proc collection, right? Which comes with drums, but also comes with all of those utility modules that you can use. Right, I have them covered in the last comparison video I did with the VCV drums and the Hora drums, right? Very unique drums. They are a bit heavy on the CPU, but very unique drum modules, all sorts of effects you can get from them, crazy glitch stuff, but also basic drums. So if you are into drums and you have already the VCV drums or you want something else, have a look at the proc. There are not so many commercial modules, by the way, for VCV. Never mind. Entrian collection, the Entrian sequencer collection. So you get the drummer, you get the timeline, and you get the melody and the CV, I believe. All four sequencers. Now, for example, all of them are like having a DAW inside VCV Rack, right? For example, the timeline, and I have something, I don't know why, but it's not working for me. I think it's something to do with OBS. It's not the Entrian thing, it's the OBS thing, I guess. But all of them are like DAWs inside of VCV Rack. You can... Let me try this again. Let's see a different one. No, also not. Which is a shame, but there is something with my computer here that the window doesn't open. Also this not. Anyway, you can compose whole songs with them. You can create automation lanes, modulation lanes, all sorts of different things. If you are into sequencing, then I think this is a very, very interesting collection you can get. One thing though, soon there will be the VST version of VCV Rack coming out. If you plan to get the VST version, maybe those sequencers will not be so helpful anymore because you can just sequence everything in your DAW. But if not, I really, really recommend this collection because you can do all sorts of things with it. It's really, really deep. Another collection is the Stellare collection, the Creative Suite it's called, with all sorts of different sequencers. Really interesting stuff, designed by Pierre, that designed also the geodesics. Really interesting modules, sequencers, precision adders, switches. Yeah, really interesting stuff that I really recommend checking out. I think I have a live stream. I have a live stream with them. Also Ableton Link stuff, but I think this is for free. I think the Ableton Link is for free. But anyway, all sorts of different switches and all sorts of stuff with probability and randomness and all sorts of goodies. Another thing is unfiltered audio. Yes, they make also plugins, modules for VCV Rack, not just Silo. Right, all sorts of different things. Delays, glitching delays, crushers. Right? Let's actually, you know what? Let's add... Okay, let's remember this. I will leave this here, right? Unfiltered audio. And then the last one is Multiverse, Quantum Multiverse from ML. If you like Quantum, the quantizer, then Quantum Multiverse is really an amazing quantizer with eight channels that you can use in all sorts of ways and offset them and spread them. And you have also memory here, as you can see. So you can save a few different presets, a few different scales in memory, and call them with triggers, with sequencers, with MIDI keyboards, whatever you want to choose. Right, so it's like having 8 quantums, but with a few more different features, which is really, really interesting. I really recommend Quantum Multiverse. Okay, so let's use Indent with this something with one voice that we have here. So those were 5 collections I recommend. Let's see, let's try as a send effect. Let's see. Let's go with mode. Let's go with tube. Oh, tape. Oh. Right, mix is all the way up. Nice. Okay, now I know what we will do. Let's use Freak and filter this so it will come in and out, right? And I can filter the left and right separately with the lovely, lovely Freak. Right, nice. So we have also some distortion. Right, so unfiltered audio really recommended. Okay, the next question from Jonathan Wayne. I've seen a lot of your wonderful videos, thank you, but not all of them. And I don't recall you ever speaking about VCV Rack's one sample delay per cable. Have you done any patches where this has been an issue? Okay, so basically the issue is that, it's not an issue, but the thing is that every module you use, right, every module you add in the chain will add one sample of delay. Now usually it will not cause any issues, but sometimes you might have things that are a bit out of sync. Or sometimes you can have phase issues. For example, if you use drums and you parallel process them with different things, every module you add in the chain will have a bit of delay, one sample delay. This might cause issues. I usually, 99% of the time, I don't encounter any issues with it. You can see all of my videos, I don't even mention it, like you said, because I didn't encounter it in those videos. But there is one video I did recently, and I don't remember which one, I'm sorry. But there is one video, I think it was a sort of a patch from scratch video, that I did encounter it there, and I mentioned it and I explained also what's going on. So when I do encounter this problem, this fact, that there is a one sample delay between modules, I usually explain what's going on, and I also show how to overcome this. So I don't think it's such a big thing. You should be aware of it, just so you know when you have an issue, you might want to try and fix it. Basically, usually what you will do, for example, if I have two sequencers, right? And for some reason, let's say that I have two sequencers, right? They are running together, and for some reason, I don't know why, let's say, I have no idea why, but let's just say that I will just add a mult, let's say. Right, let's say that the reset of one sequencer will go directly. You can see it goes directly to the sequencer, but another reset will go for some reason, never mind why, it will go through another module. In this case, it's a mult. Right, so this mult will add one sample of delay. So now when I reset everything, they are still working actually in this case. So it's not really doing anything. Let's add another mult just for this, just to show you what's going on. No, it's still working perfectly. Right, so it's not, you don't really encounter it, but what you will do usually, or what I do usually, is adding just a mult, just a dummy cable, just to add this one sample of delay. But as you can see, it's not really affecting things in this case. So yeah, I'm not encountering it so much, and when I do, I also explain things and show how to overcome this issue. So I don't think you should worry about it too much, I guess. Alright, the next question, I think it's the last one also, let's see. Yes, this is the last question. Okay, Trinks Sven, hi. Hello Omri, thanks for your hard work, thank you so much. Is the VCV Rack 2 Studio Edition a full package, or do I have to buy all the VCV modules separately? As far as I know, the Studio Edition has only the VST version there as an extra. If you didn't buy the VCV modules, we are speaking about the commercial VCV modules, right? Because all of the free stuff from VCV will be, of course, a part of the studio, right? You don't need to buy the oscillators and the envelopes and whatnot. All of them will be, of course, 99.9%, I'm sure of it, that it will be a part of the VST as well, right? or the studio version, the studio edition. But the commercial stuff, what you didn't buy, you will have to buy. I'm pretty sure you will not get them for free with the studio edition. But again, 99.9%, I'm sure that you will have still the plugins or the modules you did buy. So if you have host, for example, if you have the quantizer or the chords module, if you bought them now in version 1 from VCV, you will have them also in the studio edition. This is at least how it should work. This is the fair thing to do. Yeah, it's just fair, and that's it, right? So you will get them. If you bought them, you will have them. If you didn't, you will have to buy them. Again, I'm 99.9% sure. I'm not in any way, until now at least, I'm not involved in any way in VCV2. So it's not like I have extra information that other people don't have. It's just what I believe, what I think read also somewhere. Right, so you don't have to buy things you bought already, but you will have to buy things you didn't. All right, after Erica Synth or Istro, are there some other companies who want to offer their modules as software in VCV Rack? So first of all, Maleco, if you heard of Maleco, like the voltage block for Maleco or other oscillators for Maleco, they said once, a long time ago, that they are already working on developing the modules for VCV Rack. I really hope it will happen also somewhere in the future, but already now we have so many that are available for free, right? You don't have to pay anything, like Befaco, right? Including the new modules like more faders, MOOC slicer, and all sorts of things, right? Mutable instruments, of course, that are called audible instruments in VCV Rack, again available for free. Nano modules, also available for free, right? All of them are in hardware. Starling VIA, available for free, that you can check out. All right devices with the lovely Chronoblob, available for free. Grayscale, again, also available for free with Supercell algorithm, permutation. Wow, this distortion is really nice. And non-linear circuits, also available for free in VCV Rack. And I really hope all of them will also be together with Instruo and Erica Synth. I hope all of them will be also in the next version of VCV Rack. Yes, and I guess that was it for today. 50 minutes already. I spoke too much. Didn't really build a big patch, but still it's fun. Silo is fun. Yeah, I should explore it more. Maybe a live stream or something, I don't know. We will see. Let's take this 100% wet and listen to this a bit. Anyway, thank you again for watching. Thank you, Patreons, for your support. Again, consider joining our community on Patreon and also on Discord. Join the challenge. There are giveaways. It's fun. Oh man, this is nice. And I'm going just to add the bass to this, I guess, and that's it. And this will be the end of the video. Yes, so I'm just going to do what I always do with saws or with psych. Right, just a super saw bass. And that's it. And we will call it a day. So thank you again for watching. Okay, cheers.